In this video, we are going to create a very basic database in SQL Server for the user's login control. Then we are going to connect this database to a C# application with a user login interface. SQL Server is a management system for relational database, and a relational database is a set of related tables. SQL means a structured query language, and it's used to manage databases. So, the first step is to design the database called user login. The design of our database for this tutorial will only have a single table, and this table contains fields. Fields are also called columns. Our table name is users, and fields are UID, uname, ulast name, uemail, and upassword. In this way, every user that we add to our database will have this data. Then, a primary key is a field in a table with a unique value that identifies each row or record. In this table, the primary key is UID, so it's unique for each user. In your case, you can add more fields depending on your requirements. Every field should have a data type. In order to only accept values with that data type, UID is going to be a number, so it will only accept values of data type integer. Next fields are going to be text, so they will only accept varchar values. Varchar is for strings. After designing our database, we can create it in SQL Server. You need to have installed SQL Server Express and SQL Server Management Studio. In the description of this video, you can find the links to download SQL Server Express and SQL Server Management Studio. We should go to our programs and open Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Our database will be locally in our PC. Server type is database engine. Server name is the name of our PC, so we can choose the one that has SQL Express. Authentication is Windows authentication, so we won't introduce username or password to access to the database. Then click Connect. Then open a new query. Here is where we are going to create the database, so let's write it. Use the command create database, and the name user login. Select the line and execute it. You can see here in messages that the command was correct. All the code that we write here will only be executed when we indicate it, so it is recommended only execute what we select. So once we created the database, we will need to execute it again. To confirm the database was created, you can see here in Object Explorer that the database is here, user login. Now, we are going to use the database. We are going to write the command use and the name of the database, user login, select and execute it. We can see here in messages that was successfully. And also you can see here in the box that now we are using the user login database. We are ready to create the table users. So comment. We are going to use the command create table and the name users, open brackets. And the first field is UID, which has data type integer. And we are going to add the identity command to increase automatically the value in each new register that we add. The first argument is the value for the first row starting at number 1. And the second is the increment, which is 1. Comma, and the next one is uname. which has data type varchar with a length up to 50 characters. The next one is your last name, the same varchar, and 50. Then you email, varchar, 50. Then you password, varchar, and also 50. Then we need to add a constraint to indicate that UID is the primary key. So we are going to use the constraint command, pk users primary key, and the name of the field that is the primary key, UID. Here we don't need to add a comma because it's the last command inside the brackets. Now select and execute it. Here in messages, we can see that it was correct. Once we have created the table users, we can insert data into it. For this, we are going to use the command insert. So let's write insert into the name of the table, users, and the values, open brackets. The first one is the name, Peter. When we write text, it should be between single quotes, comma, Owen, comma, the email, Peter at example.com. And finally, the password, which is 123 ABC. Let's copy and add 2 more users to our database. We will change the values for Maria, the last name events, Maria at example.com. The password 2020 123. The next one is going to be Carlos, last name Smith, Carlos at example.com, and the password pass ABC. Select them and execute. We can see here in messages that 3 rows were affected. To visualize the data that we added, let's use the command select. Select asterisk, which means that it will show all data in the table from the name of the table, users, select, and execute. We can see all the data that we just insert in this table. We can also realize that the UID is automatic, as we indicated on sentence identity. Now, we are going to connect this database to a .NET application in C# for the user's login interface. Let's open the project where we have our application. This project was created in the last tutorial. If you want to have a similar application, go to our last video. So first of all, we are going to connect the SQL Server to this application. So go to View, click on Server Explorer, then right-click on Data Connections, Add Connection, and here we'll select Microsoft SQL Server. Continue, and click on Server Name. And we are going to select the server name that we have chosen on our database, which is the one that has SQL Express. Then let's select the database that we created here, which is user login, and test the connection. We can see it was correct. And finally, click on Accept. Let's go to Server Explorer, and we will see the server that we just added. After any change of our database, we need to refresh our database here. And we can click on it and see the table users. If you want to see the table, right-click, Show Table Data, and it will open our data that we just added. You can see here all the data that we added directly on our SQL Server database. Then let's go to our graphical interface main window, and we are going to set the names for the controls that we will use. So select the username text box, go to Properties, and change the name txt username. Enter. Then select the password box, Properties, and name txt password. Enter. And finally, the login button, Properties, btn login. Enter. Then let's open the C# code here in the Solution Explorer, the main window .cs. Double click. We are going to add the class to manage SQL databases. So let's write using system.data.SQL client. It is recommended to have installed the latest version, so you can go to Tools, NuGet Packages, NuGet Packages Manager, and here search for system.data.SQL client. Select here and install. Accept. Accept. And we have the latest version. You can see here. Now we have the latest version. Close. And let's add using system.data. We are going to create the connection when click on login. So go to the interface main window, select login button. In properties, select event controller. And when the event on click, btn login, click, enter, and it will open the method in C# code. Now let's create an object of the class SQL connection. Called con_db new SQL connection, and in the brackets it will be the connection string. To get the connection string, go to Server Explorer, select the database, and here in properties, in connection string, copy and paste here. Then open the connection. So now let's write the string query. String query, and the command select asterisk from the name of the table users, where we are going to use the email as the username. Email equal and get the text from the text box username. Dot text dot trim. And password equal to the text password. Password dot trim. And quote marks. So here we are comparing the email with the txt username and the password with the txt password. Now create an object of SQL data adapter. So SQL data adapter DA equal new SQL data adapter. And here the command query and the connection. Then create a data table. DT equal to new data table. And let's fill that table with the values that we got with the command. da.fill DT. Now, to check if exists a record with the email and password that we introduced and that record is unique, let's write if it dot rows dot count equals to 1, because there is only one row with those values. If it is correct, show a message box and correct. If not, show a message box and username or password are incorrect. We are done to execute our application. And let's try it with the username Maria at example.com and the password just 2020. Click on login, and that's incorrect because the password is 2020-123. So accept and correct the password 2020-123 and click on login, and yeah, that's correct. So if this tutorial was useful for you, please subscribe and like this video, and thank you and see you in the next tutorials.